Welcome to the Chicago Bears Podcast, a presentation of ESPN Chicago, Chicago's home for sports. Here's your host, Pat, the designer.
Bear down, Bears fans. Welcome into another edition of the Chicago Bears Podcast. It's a football Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and we got Chris Bleck in the building with us. Training camp's over. We got to review what we saw at training camp, our biggest takeaways, biggest letdowns, previewing this game versus the Titans, and then we finally can give a real grade somewhat, right? You got to wait and see it, but on what we think that Ryan Poles did this offseason, at least heading into the season now. All that and more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears Podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Bleck, how you feeling today, man?
What's up, Pat? And listen, it's like we say this many times in the fall, heading into the fall. Football's back, but like, here we go. This is our first Football Friday.
Yeah.
We have a game to talk about tomorrow. We have actual film to kind of break down as fans. So, like, this is it. The season is here. The weekly routine will kind of hit the flow for the next couple of weeks. I'm ready. I'm excited to see what the Bears can do against the Titans tomorrow.
It's so interesting because I just can't wait for the Sunday of overreactions. That's my favorite thing. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, hey, it's Sunday, and the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields threw 4 passes, and he completed one of them. Wow, this is not looking good already. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I always get excited for after the preseason. But at a minimum, training camps come to an end. What was your biggest surprise? We're in the first quarter. We're bringing the quarters back, baby. Y'all was asking for them. There wasn't much to talk about. We didn't have 4 quarters worth of stuff in the offseason. What do you want from us? In the first quarter, what was your biggest surprise? What was the thing that got you most excited coming out of training camp, the player you saw?
I would say Tyler Scott. We've kind of seen in the NFL the last few years that you can find wide receivers almost anywhere, but it's almost this idea that playing wide receiver in college, you could have the skill set, but it takes some time to acclimate yourself to the NFL game. And I think the thing that I really appreciate and look forward to the season is that we have a rookie in Tyler Scott who rave reviews almost all of training camp.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a young player. He doesn't have to necessarily perform right away for the Bears, but if he does, what an added bonus that could be for this offense. So I think the reviews and the expectations on a rookie player coming in who seems to be grasping the offense, which has taken time for some young players in the past at that position, I think it's going to be cool to see him play. I'm really excited to see what he does against the Titans and throughout this preseason kind of 3-game set, because if he goes out in games and impresses, like, now you're talking about a situation where Ryan Poles has assembled possibly 4 reliable wide receivers for a quarterback that was going into games last December with guys who were starting who theoretically are your 5th and 6th options, right? And that, to me, is really...
Equinemius is a generous 2. That's what I'd call him.
EQ St. Brown, he's a good player for his abilities.
Heck of a blocker.
I love that he commits to the run game. I think that he's a nice football player. But let's call it what it is. Yeah. He at best is a 4 or a 3 on a team with good wide receivers. So if somehow Tyler Scott at some point, as far as a pass catcher, can pass him and move into that 4th spot, that might be really good for the Bears offense. And then also I would say defensively, the reviews on some of the young players kind of just like stepping in, like Stevenson, just being a guy who can kind of hold his own in practice. And then the 2 tackles who are both rookies. Essentially, Pat, we've only heard positive things from the young players, which is pretty encouraging, because in the past, that hasn't always been the case, which leads me to two ideas. One, Poles is getting it done in the draft. And he's picking players who actually can play. And then 2, the coaching staff is coaching up these guys, getting them ready to go. And so, like, that to me is my takeaway from training camp, is that it seems as if the young players are ready to contribute.
Yeah.
Not be stars. to contribute. And I think that's a good starting point for a team that won 3 games last year.
No, 100%. It allows it. We're seeing Ryan Poles start to build drafts on top of each other. It's his first opportunity to do it. And it feels like, at least at this point, right, we're seeing names that feel like he's going to be able to do that successfully. Tyler Scott, to me, when Matt Eberflus talked about him, he talked about him as a guy who he gets it. So now he can use his speed because he knows where to be. He can play faster. He can attack the game a lot faster. And when we had Tyler Scott on the podcast, he talked about how his senior year of college, his ankle was torn up. So everybody was just like, he can't play press coverage. Nobody's looking at that. And having him on our team now, having the Bears go out and draft a guy like him, what that told me was somebody did their research on this kid. They were like, he didn't just forget how to play press coverage here. I think we've got something here. And it's like what they talked about with the Patriots, right? They didn't go out and get the best players. They got the players that fit their system, fit what they needed. I think Tyler Scott just fits a need for this team, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to bring.
Yeah, it fits the system. And then it's like the element of you're not a finished product when you enter the facility.
Yeah.
Like that's something.
He's not George Pickens.
The last few regimes of coaching, it felt as if guys did not get better.
Yes.
It feels that if there's one thing I'm fairly confident in with this coaching staff is that players are getting better, no matter who they are. If you're Cole Kmet, a vet who now signed a new contract, he got better last year.
100%.
I think there are guys on the roster, and like that is the key for getting this team out of the basement of the NFL and now into that second level of average to competitive. And then hopefully we can like set our sights next offseason at let's compete and win. Let's win a championship. Let's get to the Final Four, the championship weekend. Let's win the division. Like that, I think it's a really nice start at where they're at right now.
And to your credit, right? Like the point that you made on how the players are getting better, to me, that speaks to, hey, our coaching staff's getting better. Remember, these were all first-year guys last year. Matt Eberflus, rookie head coach. Luke Getsy, rookie OC. I was talking about this on the Breeze the other day, and I said it took Luke. Everybody's like, oh, it took Luke Getsy 6 weeks to figure out how to utilize Justin Fields. It's like, of course it did. He didn't have Justin Fields. He didn't have a guy like that. He didn't know how to call plays for a guy where he can use his legs and get out and create space and different things like that. And he's trying to figure that out, like you said, with wide receivers that are 4s and 5s on other teams.
Right. And I kind of look at it as I wouldn't blame Fields or Getsy for that.
Yeah.
Like it is possible. It took 6 weeks for Getsy to realize that my quarterback's not getting any help from any of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, right? Like,
100%.
Once we go into week 7, I believe that's right around that New England
Patriots
game.
Week, right? Yeah, something like that.
The offense was different.
Yeah. You felt it.
The quarterback played differently. The play calling was different. It looked like a modern NFL offense.
Yes.
With, I don't want to diss track any of the guys who were out there,
It's
but
a
like,
podcast. You can throw it out there.
they were filler players.
Yeah.
They were bench level guys.
And Justin just didn't trust them. To me, that was the thing.
Could you though?
You can't. But it was. I've said this probably 2-3 times on this podcast. Justin had his Smush Parker moment when Kobe said, "Why would I pass Smush Parker the ball?
Yeah,
he's gonna miss." Like, why would I give you the ball when I know you're gonna miss? I'm taking all the shots. I feel like that's what Justin turned into last season. And he just had a bunch of guys who, 1, weren't in camp with him. 2, he couldn't trust during the season because how many times did we see them drop the ball? And 3, right? Like, I think that Justin Fields just had to come to a point where he was like, okay, I've got to kind of trust this system, but also trust my instincts. And you couldn't do that with Matt Nagy as your rookie head coach. Matt Nagy was like, trust the system. It will save you, even though it had never saved anyone.
Well, it was also crap play calling too. So, I mean, like that's the thing that I picked up from Getsy. You could say at the start it wasn't working, but Getsy knows how to call something that then later he builds upon the thought, or that thought that was early was only to manipulate you into not understanding what's coming at you later. Like, I think Getsy's pretty good. And that's where this season it's pretty exciting because year 2 of a quarterback in that system, I think sky's the limit.
And it's like you said with growth, right? To me, the biggest surprise, I have 2 really big surprises that I've been on. The one is the one thing we've seen consistently is Justin Fields taking the underneath stuff. Justin Fields would not take an underneath to save his life. Now, there also weren't a ton of underneaths that were thrown last season or that were called last season. So it's like I said, it's growth on both parts. But to me, seeing him go, all right, I'm gonna just dump this off to Cole. Even yesterday, dumps it off to Mercedes Lewis, and it turns into a nice gain for him. I like to see things like that because now it's Justin Fields not saying, I need to just make the biggest play of the game right now. No, I just need to move the chains. We just need to get another first down. And if he does that and gets to the 20, now as a defense, I'm sitting here like, yeah, I got to worry about his arm, but Jesus Christ, what if he takes off?
Well, last year, I think also for Justin, it should have materialized in his mind that he doesn't have to win the game on every play, because at some point there will be an opportunity where he's going to make a play that could win the game if you're just hanging around.
Yeah.
We saw that in the Lions game, in the Dolphins game. He breaks those plays for the runs, for the touchdowns. Those weren't they didn't have to happen in the first quarter. They were as the game went along, the defense gets tired, a cornerback takes a bad cut trying to stop him near the line of scrimmage. One move, gone.
Yeah.
And that type of thing, that's the type of thing that a quarterback like Justin Fields needs to realize, that he just needs to stay in the game, stay in the competition to keep those plays available.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't have to do that in the first quarter, 3rd and long, when nothing's there, right? Dump it off.
Yeah.
Find Tunyon, find Lewis, find Cole Kmet, dump it off, find a Herbert out of the backfield, and wait. He's got game breaker speed. Wait for that opportunity to come, because it's sick how good he is as an athlete, and he's almost a better athlete than 95% of the players on the field. So just wait for them to make the mistake and then take the opportunity.
Yeah. The other surprise for me that I do think is going to be an asset for him coming into this season, Velus Jones in training camp. Listen, go find it. There's a highlight tape out there that somebody made, and it said the things that needed to happen for the Bears to get the number 1 overall pick. 3 of the plays are Velus Jones fumbles on punts. And just how you couldn't use him last season.
They lost the Giants game because of that.
Because of that. The Commanders game they lose because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They could have won that.
And so there's so many, but I've been one that I was like, he's an older player. You can't trust him. I get we're trying to develop him, but he's going to be 27 by the end of this season, I believe. And he's the second year in the NFL. You got to show me something that's game breaker. In training camp, Velus Jones has surprised me, not just because of the kick returns and punt returns, but the Bears have actually been able to put him out there on routes, and he's been able to catch the football and come down with them. The Bears have been able to use him on those gadget plays a little bit. And to me, if he can combine those two things in game, if you can go out and get that deep shot that he caught last season every now and then, now when Luke Getsy wants to put him out there, I can't just go, oh, Velus is on the field, gadget play, and everybody plays up.
Right.
I think that could be a real asset for the Bears coming into this season, and I'm kind of excited to see how Luke Getsy is going to be able to use him if he's able to continue to grow in what we've seen.
I think step one is he has to make the team. I think it's still
Pettis might be out of there.
I think it's still up for debate.
But we still got a long way to go with that too. The wide receiver cuts will probably be the last ones.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the intriguing position battles in camp.
Yeah.
Right? I would say if you're a team that's thinking you're going to win games this year, which I think they believe they're going to win games, and I think that's the attitude, is that we're no longer a middling bottom feeder hoping for a good draft pick. They want to win games.
You don't go out and get
You've been around there
for a year.
We have both been around Hallis Hall enough in the last couple of weeks, inside the building, outside the building. They want to win some football games. And the one thing you could argue in favor of Pettis is that he's a vet and he's done it before.
And he didn't lose you games.
Right. Now on the other side, you have a draft pick from your GM from last year. That's pretty tough to cut a guy a year later who you spent a high draft pick on.
3rd round pick on him,
That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. So
I think the hard part is, right, did Pettis
if he has a good 3 preseason games, I think Velus Jones is okay.
for sure.
But I do think it's possible if he goes out there, Pat, and tomorrow, has a couple drops in the wide receiver action that he gets.
He's going to get time too.
If he fumbles a punt return or a kickoff, I think it's possible he could be released, because I think the attitude is we're trying to win now and you are just not getting it.
Yeah.
I think that's possible.
I'm not going to say it's impossible. I think the battle is him and Pettis, because Tyler Scott's going to be here. You just drafted the kid wherever. Was it 5th round pick?
They've been raving about
it,
and
they love him, right?
Yeah.
And Matt Eberflus loves how mature he is already. And so Tyler Scott's here, Chase is here, Mooney's here, Moore is here. You would think they're probably St. Brown is here, so they're probably taking 6 in. It's going to be between Pettis and Jones. Pettis just the thing about Pettis is he's had the NFI. He just hasn't been able to show you anything.
Yeah.
And so that's allowed Velus to shine.
He has tape though.
He does.
And he was reliable last year.
More reliable than than Velus for sure.
He's not explosive. He's not a game breaker, and
he's here for $1 million.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
So it is.
That'll be interesting to see.
I think it's certainly a storyline to kind of watch over the next couple of weeks during these games in preseason, and then also like the scrimmages with NFL teams to see how Velus handles it.
Would it be a surprise to you that even if Velus plays better, if they cut Velus?
Yeah, I think if he does play better, I think that would be a surprise.
Okay.
I think it would, because I think that it's a clear admittance to getting something wrong.
Yeah.
And I think
we rarely see that.
It's also like
we rarely see, except in San Francisco. San Francisco's like, Trey Lance was wrong.
I mean, new GM. I feel like first draft class, I feel like he's going to get a little extra leeway.
Yeah. We'll see. What was as we head into the second quarter, by the way, let me make sure we do this. Brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana. See Black, Veil, Bridges, and BV on September 28th at the Hard Rock Live. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Second quarter is brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino. You going to see VV? And you going to check them out?
Front row.
I can see you there. I can see you there. As we get into this second quarter, training camp wasn't all great, right? Like there was a lot of days we left just going, all right, it's not exactly what I want to see, but it's camp, it's early. But what was the thing that you thought for sure we were going to see in camp that you didn't see? What was your biggest letdown?
Biggest letdown. I'd say the biggest letdown is that at times it wasn't like I want to phrase this carefully, because there were rave reviews of the defense.
Yes.
But until Yannick Ngakoue was in camp, it seemed as if the defensive line needed help. Now, they got the help from outside, but I feel as if inside the building, they were hoping that something would happen in camp
before
they wouldn't have to make a move.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way Poles was trying to slow play this. They had to. They had the money. They got it done. He's in camp. I think things are going to be okay. I was a little surprised that defensive-minded head coach Matt Eberflus, you have all these new additions to the linebacker core. You have a secondary that seems pretty legit, guys coming back. You add a couple of rookies, and you hope they kind of turn out. But like Kyler Gordon, or rave reviews about him. You get the 2 safeties. Everything looks good there. Jalen Johnson, I like what he brings to the table. I'm surprised there wasn't like a standout defensive lineman from within that kind of marked his territory. Does that make sense?
I think we got that early with DeMarcus Walker, though, and then he ended up getting hurt.
Yeah,
we got it that second week. It was like, okay, he's getting back there.
But some of the reports from and you were at practice more, because any of the days that we were there, we were broadcasting while practice was going on. So like I couldn't actively watch.
Yeah.
It felt like the reports were talking up him talking trash more than him actually making plays, which some feistiness out of defensive players I need.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have no problem with that. I just felt like people were like, oh, look at Walker. He's now, MFing people again.
He's yelling.
He's yelling. He's like, it's good. We need some feistiness from the defense, but he didn't stand out to the point where they're like, well, we don't need to go sign someone.
Yeah. There was never a clear-cut number one. There was never a moment where I looked at DeMarcus Walker or Rasheem Green and said, I feel confident going into the season that that's our answer.
Yeah.
And the second, I will, to your credit, right? Yannick Ngakoue had 2 practices before we get to the preseason. And in those 2 days, we're literally talking about, wow, the defensive line is in the backfield.
Yeah.
And it does go to, they're not scheming, they're not game planning anything. It does go to that, but it's a lot harder for Braxton Jones to step out on Yannick Ngakoue.
Talent's talent.
Yeah,
once
you know
it
what
shows
I mean?
up, you see it. I've been privileged to be in a family that has Bears season tickets, and for years we would always go early and sit in the seats and watch the players warm up.
Yeah.
Players with talent, high-end elite talent on a football field. There's 53 guys out there warming up on each side. So you got over 100 players. You can see it.
Yeah.
Like even in warm-ups, you can see the guys who are elite talent players. And I think Ngakoue is one of those guys. So no doubt in my mind that you're at practice, he shows up and all of a sudden, now other guys are breaking through because he's such a menace on that side.
Well, and I think what it does is, right, you have to worry about him. And that's the one thing that excites me about coming into this season is now I was just like, who's going to help these rookies get better? Because let's be real. I like DeMarcus Walker. I like Rasheem Green. I like Andrew Billings. They're not the future of our team.
No.
I doubt they're going to be here for the next 7 years. The guys that should be are Javon Dexter, Zach Pickens. And we get 2 days in with Yannick Ngakoue in there, and all of a sudden, Javon Dexter has a breakout day where he's in the backfield all day.
Oh, yeah.
He's knocking the ball. He's got TFLs, sacks. We keep saying sacks. I'm air quoting all sacks because it's Justin Fields back there. But if that's Kirk Cousins, if that's Jordan Love, those are sacks.
It goes both ways, right? So like they can't physically hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
So the quarterback can get off throws that maybe in a game he can't actually get off because the defensive player has to let up, right? But you're right. The moment Ngakoue shows up, now you see players in the backfield, hands up. I got there. I got there. I would have gotten you if this was a game. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that like from the tackles, Jones, Billings, you have the 2 Pickens and Dexter. You have the 2 rookies. Hopefully, the rookies push the vets, and you get this nice flow of 4 guys who can disrupt.
Yeah.
That would be huge heading into this season.
My favorite thing when we had Javon Dexter on was it wasn't for him. What he was talking about wasn't about getting to the quarterbacks. I asked him about sacking the quarterback. I kind of gave him a setup question, and he was like, well, which quarterback do you want to sack? He was like, I ain't even thought about that yet. I was like, good, because if you said Pat Mahomes, I was like, great, you pissed him off now. That's what I mean. But what he said was, I'm just worried about in the pocket.
Yeah.
And that's such an important thing in this defense. Like, I don't think people think about that. Now that you have a Yannick Ngakoue, denting the pocket forces your quarterback to pick a decision. I'm going left or right.
Right.
I got to run into Yannick Ngakoue one of those ways. Those are the things that I like that we're hearing from these rookies. They're not sitting here trying to say, I'm coming out and I'm going to be 10 sacks this year. They're saying, I'm just trying to help create pressure.
Right.
And it's something the Bears couldn't do last season at all.
Well, pressure, and then they were gashed in the run game, right? And
I think that's where Billings and Jones help a lot. Well, Billings more so.
Yeah.
Because Jones was basically in there by himself last year.
Yeah, he was. and that's where, if you can detonate that too, you're now looking at a defense that was like 32nd against the run. If you could get to like 20 or like 18, now that changes the way the game flows, right? Because now the offense isn't sitting 2nd and 4, 3rd
100%.
and 1 every single 3rd down conversion. It's easy when you offensively have to go against a defense where you're getting 6 yards per carry.
Yeah.
And that's where it all comes together then, right? The defense can get off the field, get the ball back to your quarterback. If he's patient, he knows he doesn't have to make a great play each and every time he touches it, because once the Bears give it up, they can maybe get it back. I think everything with the team kind of works together. And I think that's where defensive line play, if they can improve a little bit, if Yannick can create some havoc, allow the young pups in the middle to kind of figure it out, I think it might have a chance to be pretty good.
No, for sure. It's always a good thing when your biggest letdown gets fixed like 2 days before training camp. I was this has not been good. Oh, Yannick's here. This is great.
It's also I think it's a tip of the cap to
Ryan Poles.
And let me remove the baseball. It's a helmet sticker to Ryan Poles, right?
Helmet sticker.
Let's go helmet sticker. Well, it really is, because think about it. In this camp, there are very few positional battles.
Yeah.
We almost know exclusively all of the starters, all 22 almost. It's
much,
like 21 we know. There's a battle for the second cornerback spot, but I think we kind of know.
I'm going to tell you this. PJ Walker hasn't been pretty. But.
No, cornerback.
Oh, cornerback. I was gonna say. I was like, he ain't been pretty, but neither Nathan Peterman. But yes, Terrell Smith and
Stevenson.
and Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah,
yes.
like okay, that's fine. But again, I think what this kind of points to is that Poles has upgraded every level of the team.
Yeah,
and when you do that, I think that's where you get a camp where 13 practices in yesterday. There's really not a whole lot to worry about at this moment. Are they a Super Bowl contender? No, I don't think anyone's expecting that right now. I think we'll have some opinions off of what we see tomorrow. If the defense looks dead, no one's flying around hitting second, third string guys don't look hungry, then we might have some issues throughout the rest of the preseason. But helmet sticker the Poles, he's upgraded every level of this team.
By the way, if the NFL allowed helmet stickers, that's the fix for the whole logo controversy that everybody's having. You get little bear helmet stickers and slap them on there.
Is it a controversy?
Not really. I don't think that they're changing the bear. I don't most have taken this so far.
The bear logo. This is not new. This is not a new logo. I've seen this logo since '91.
You're not going to get this on the helmet though.
I don't want it on the helmet.
I kind of want it on the helmet a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Give me an alternate jersey. Give me a white helmet, bear logo on it.
No,
let me get that.
You can't do that.
You're not a fan?
If you're gonna put any logo on the helmet, it has to be the old bear head, the '80s.
I'll give you that. I'm not mad at the '80s
white
bear
and
head
blue
either. Yeah, I'm not
head.
mad at that.
Give me something old school.
Give me some kind of animal
or
on
even the football with the bear on the football, the old 1940s logo. If you got to do a logo on the helmet, I don't know. I don't like any of that stuff. So
you don't like when they switch it up on you out of nowhere?
Well, this is the charter franchise.
Yeah.
We have standards. If you are a team that doesn't
do we have standards?
Pat, if you don't listen, we're not Oregon football. We don't need all these gimmicks to get kids to be interested in our team.
That's true.
It's like I'm a USC fan.
Yeah.
USC will give you the same helmet each and every year, each and every game.
Yeah.
Same jerseys. They don't mess around. The Bears should be the same way. It's a beautiful jersey.
Yeah.
The C on the helmet, the winged was it the wishbone C?
The wishbone C, yeah.
That should never change. If you want to do the winged helmet like they have for the throwbacks before, that's okay because they actually wore that before. I don't need new age bears on the side. None of that. Absolutely not. I like this logo. It's a good logo. Beautiful logo behind me.
For here, just not on the helmets. No,
it's good. And if it's the primary logo, I understand why they have to clarify it for like marketing purposes. So then when companies use Bears imaging for different partnerships or for putting together like campaigns like Nike when they have to make the apparel, I understand that they want that focused instead of the C. But as a Bears fan, I don't need that on a helmet. You want that on a helmet?
I want it on a helmet. I'm not going to lie. I like the Bear logo better than the Wishbone C because I think it's more original. The Bear logo.
But the Bears are the original team.
Yeah, but the Wishbone C, we had that well after the Reds already did. We basically said, let's get that Reds logo and make it orange.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Chicago Cardinals had a C like that too. I think so. I think they do because, like,
one of our historians in the chat let us know that. I don't remember the Cardinals
because the Cardinals originally
I do remember that
were here as one of the original teams before they moved on to elsewhere, parts unknown, right? But
can we count them then? Is the like we basically just took their logo then?
Yeah, but I mean, who had it first? The Packers or the Bulldogs? Georgia. I think technically the Georgia Bulldogs had the G on the side of the helmet before Green Bay did. I don't know. I think the Bears helmet is a crisp, clean, perfect looking helmet.
Yeah.
I don't need something different.
Listen, I don't care what's on the side of the helmet as long as wins are involved in whatever it is.
I've always had.
I could care less as long as you're winning games in it. Like, put the C on there. You could put George Halas's face on there. Put Virginia on there. I don't care what's on the side of the helmet if we're winning games.
You notice that. Hey, you've noticed when teams win, the uniforms look cooler.
Yeah, for sure.
That goes for any sport, any team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, yeah, when you have a team that's always a loser, you're like, yeah, those uniforms suck. But the moment they start winning, you're like, all right, I can see what you're doing there. Like, all right.
I just saw a documentary on like 90s hip hop and how the White Sox logo was revolutionized with it. Mm-hmm. And it was like, of course it was. Frank Thomas was there. Ozzie Gill, the team was winning games. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, of course it did. And like, that was the iconic one.
It's simple. It's, you know, it's not. Yeah. I think that's why I wouldn't change.
Yeah.
With the Bears uniform.
Hey,
like the whole orange deal, the orange jerseys.
I like the orange jerseys though.
Oh,
now here's the thing. I like the orange jersey look. I hate when they wear them because I think our record is like one of the most atrocious records.
Just look at the record jerseys. With any of the uniforms the last 20 years.
Any of the new uniforms.
Any of the jerseys the last 20 years. It hasn't been great. So who knows?
This is true. You're making good points here. Now, let's keep this thing moving along. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We get the halftime. Halftime is back. Bleck.
Yeah.
We kind of just had a halftime segment pretty much. But anything that's going on, anything you guys want to push, promote, what's going on with Bleck and Abdallah?
Well, so let's note this. Pregame for the pregame show, Bleck and Abdallah will be on before Bears games every 4 hours. So tomorrow against the Titans, we'll start at 8 to 10 before Sylvie, Lance, and Dion take over for the network pregame show on ESPN 1000. We'll be on for 2 hours. So 4 hours of coverage before every Bears game. And Pat, as you're a part of, 4 hours of coverage post-game, the Bears Radio Network. So we're looking forward to that. And we've filled in for Greeny a lot this summer. This upcoming week, Greeny is off again. So we'll fill in for Greeny this upcoming week, and Bleck and Abdallah at some point will probably return at night.
Greeny's just coming back right before the football season, isn't he? like the day before, he's gonna be like, "What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Mike Greenberg, Aaron Rodgers is back in New York, ladies and gentlemen." And
Hembo, Nuno,
Hembo, how's it going? Good to see you.
NBA.
Wait, wrong show.
Whenever we fill in, we fill in. Otherwise, Bleck and Abdallah weeknight 6 to 8. So. I always think that football season is the best time of year to not only host these shows, but also I think for a consumer, our listeners, people who love this stuff, I think it's better because there's like a flow to it. There's a rhythm to the weeks. And I think if you work in this business, the best time to be doing this is during football season. There's no better time than being able to talk football throughout the fall. So I love it. I can't wait for the fall. So it's great. So we'll have the pre-show tomorrow.
Hey, can't wait to listen in. Make sure you guys are tuned into the pre-show. I'll be on the post game.
Yeah,
tune in with us. We got post. You know what I mean?
8 hours of coverage outside of the game.
It's so much foot. Like that's what I was literally. I woke up this morning, and because I was just busy recording yesterday, I didn't get a chance to sit down and watch like the Houston game.
So I watch it. CJ Stroud looked bad.
7:00 in the morning. I'm sitting here watching Houston Texans football. And I'm just like, this is really he's going to play one drive of this. He did look horrible, but I'm not losing my mind yet. Everybody's like, he's a bust. I'm like, he looked horrible for 4 passes.
I'm not going to lie. I stopped watching baseball like 3 weeks ago. So I've been watching the NFL Network's coverage of training camp every single night. So watching games last night was fantastic. I'm all about it, man. It's football season's the best.
Yeah, it is unmatched. I'll tell you that much. It's dominant. Let's keep this thing moving along. Head to the third quarter here because we got football tomorrow, as we've been talking about. 8 hours of football coverage. Stay in tune with us. If there's one thing that you could see tomorrow that okay, heading into this week of practice versus Indy, going into next week, that looks like it's actually a real thing, what would that be?
I think what would be great is if the offense opens up, marches down the field 10 play, 70-yard drive, couple first downs, a nice chunk play to DJ Moore, some moving bodies in the run game, picking up some easy first downs, running the football, and then a nice little bootleg, oppo side scramble toss to a Tunyon in the end zone for 6 from Fields, untouched. One of those misdirections. He scrambles.
What's he doing over there?
Yeah, he holds the football in his stomach for that extra beat and then breaks out, and then a nice little floater to Tunyon. I would say, pack it in, fellas. You accomplished all you needed to. Let's get on the bench and wait it out for next week. And I'd say, like, all the concerns of the offense not gelling, I think that if you put together a nice, smooth, flawless drive in the first preseason game, then none of the stuff that we were worried about last week, it really matters. I heard something really interesting yesterday. Adam Johns was on with Waddle and Sylvie.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Pat, remember 2 days ago at practice, so it was practice number 12. The offense was bad, and there were a lot of penalties.
Oh, yeah.
And they were struggling.
A lot of false starts.
Adam Johns on Waddle and Sylvie suggested that to him, it seemed as if the officials and Matt Eberflus were kind of in cahoots. And what he meant by that was that there were false starts called on the offense that put the offense in bad situations, and that the offensive players were looking around, and Getsy was looking around like, why did
Getsy he was throwing some words at the refs. I'm not gonna lie, you saw it.
And so he was saying he wouldn't be surprised if that was orchestrated, because it was happening on third down. So it was like 3rd and 7. They would call penalty on right, false start. They would all look around and go, what happened? And then now it's 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
And now Justin and Getsy and the offense have to adjust what they were originally planning on. So there have been reports that the offenses look bad, sluggish.
It has. I'm not
couple of times.
Watching it the last, I would say, 2 practices I was there. It looked like what Getsy said. It looked like they were like, we're trying something completely new today. Let's go out there and do it.
And I'm wondering if Eberflus was intentionally stacking the deck against them in some of these situations to challenge them for the rest of the preseason and then the season. So, like, if they go out and against the Titans, you get a couple of false starts and things look sloppy, it didn't look good.
Right.
And it's worthy for concern. But if they go out there, look kind of flawless, look like a good offensive unit, I think that would be the best situation from it.
For me, the one thing I'm looking for, and it kind of goes to what you're talking about still on the offensive side, I just want to have an answer on the left side of this offensive line. I have no answer. Braxton Jones been getting cooked. He's been getting cooked, but he's been able to recover from it. But against guys like Yannick Ngakoue and defenses that you're going to see, you're not going to be able to do that, right? You play Myles Garrett here. If you get cooked and you recover against Myles Garrett has another counter move to get away from you again to get to your quarterback. Braxton Jones tells us he knows what he needs to work on. And I understand it takes time for linemen to get this in order. I'm not saying he has to be a finished product right now, but you're coming into a season where, like you said, they want to win there. A big part of them winning is the left side of your line not being a question mark. And to me, I left training camp going, I don't feel like he's great. I feel like he's what he was last season. He was usable. He was suitable to be out there at left tackle.
Yeah. I wonder if he played 17 games last year. I wonder if he's able to just stay healthy. If you have valid concerns, but I wonder if the other side of the line improves enough that's something that Luke Getsy can kind of manipulate with scheme.
Yeah.
Like you throw an extra tight end over there that chip.
Yeah. That's why you went out and got Mercedes Lewis.
I wonder if that's something that is certainly a concern right now, but I
You can
wonder.
give him some help.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And I think since he's a young player, certainly there's time. I mean, having Tevin Jenkins next to him, I think helps because I think they got something out of something that they weren't expecting to last
Right.
year. So hopefully you get that same level of improvement throughout this upcoming season from both of them. And like maybe it is stable and they play well. It's possible.
That's my hope because I think here's the situation that realistically you could be in. I think you've got to ride with Braxton as far as you can. But if you get to preseason week 3 and he still looks like he's having those same issues, can you roll into the season with him? When you've got a guy who, I don't know if people remember this, we drafted as a left tackle. Tevin Jenkins at left guard is a left tackle.
Yeah.
And was good the few times we saw him play that position, but the injuries, of course, take away from him. Can you trust him there? So I wonder that, like, I want to see Braxton do well. I like that Braxton was durable last season. That's a very important thing on this offensive line. Seeing is how Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins have been in and out of there. I mean, Nate Davis, we haven't seen much of in there. Lucas Patrick is going out as well. But I am very concerned by that left side of the line because I was coming into this season saying the side that I would attack, because at least on the right side, Justin can see it.
Yeah.
If I got question marks over there, Justin can see what's coming to him. We saw Jay Cutler basically just get killed for years because they never could fix the left side of the line. Was he making bonehead plays oftentimes? Yeah. But a lot of that is coupled with the fact that he's getting killed on that left side every time.
I think being the number one rush offense last year also helps with that, right? So like if you know if you're gaining, yeah, well, he's still there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like I would prefer less design runs for Justin, but it's not like the legs aren't going to work theoretically if he's healthy. So, you know, I think some of that is you focus the offense around running the football, tough nose. You move people on the offensive line forward, gain yardage, shorter yardage for passing plays. And I think you'll have less of Justin having to take a 7-step drop.
Yeah.
And then have to wait for someone to get downfield 14 yards before he can throw. And that amount of time that Braxton Jones has to be
perfect, basically.
Usable, shrinks, right? And then so it kind of all works together, right? So like if Jones and Jenkins can rush block well, it theoretically could help against a pass rush.
No, for sure. And I think that's one thing where he did thrive last season. When he's able to just go forward, he's a big, strong guy.
Yeah,
he can move people out of his way. And
Jenkins is a mean dude, man. It's awesome. I love it.
It's like my favorite thing is Ryan Poles, when he was out with Waddle and Sylvie, he was talking about kind of some of the guys on the offensive line. He was like, we got some pricks, man. Like, these guys are not.
Well, it's football.
Yeah, I mean, like he was like, these guys are not.
Yeah.
On the field, like they're great guys, but on the field, they are not nice people. I love that.
I want my football players to have an edge. I want my rock stars to be a mess.
Yeah.
You know, like no one, like, you know what I mean? Like everything in today, like pop culture, everything's like pristine and polished and performed, and everything on Instagram is perfect. Hey, you know, a football player, you want a little edge to him, a little grit, right?
Sure.
That's what I want.
I agree. Like I want the guy. The one thing that I love that Ryan Poles has done is remember the year before he shows up here. Who was the turnstile we had at right tackle? It was he was from Seattle. He was a high pick there. We brought him in. He was basically useless for 2.5 years.
Yeah, I
can't even think of his name. But
the comments will have it.
He literally, Tevin Jenkins goes over, tries to is protecting Justin for getting hit out of bounds.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And he comes over to him. He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you can't do that right now? And it's like, hey, you just hit your quarterback. But how about we show a little love for the guy who's possibly a franchise guy?
Right.
We're not going to have any problems with that this year. Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Wright, Cody Whitehair is always ready for a fight. I like that. You know,
that's what you need, man.
Braxton Jones is the voice of reason, I feel like. And I feel like he's just going to run and be like, could you guys get out the way? Like, remember when Shaq was going over there to help Kobe out of a fight, or Rick Fox out of a fight? He's pushing half of the Rockets team left. Like, that's what Braxton Jones is going to be in that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I'm with you totally.
It's going to be interesting to see as we close this thing out, finishing out the fourth quarter here. We now get to see what Ryan Poles' team is going to look like. But before we see that against real competition, How would you grade the job that Ryan Poles has done this offseason just off of what we're seeing on paper? We were a 3-win team last season. I think we could have been better if we keep people around, but the turnaround we've seen has been pretty massive, and we're in a good place with the salary cap.
I don't see how you can answer this question with anything less than a B+. I'll give him an A. Right, like he could have signed some higher profile names, but he got players who produced in the past. And I think that's what kind of changes my idea for like what they can accomplish. Edwards and Edmonds, the linebackers, have both been accomplished players in this league for winning teams.
100%.
You know, Darnell Wright, as your 10th pick, you get the guy that you want by moving back and getting something else for. That is a smart move. Moving out of that first pick to get DJ Moore. DJ Moore is an accomplished player with room to grow.
Yeah.
There's a chance that DJ Moore has the ability to step into that top 15 wide receiver conversation. That's pretty great when something that we pointed out all last season is that your quarterback doesn't have a number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
And you go out and not only get a number one wide receiver, but he has room to possibly turn into someone who's a, top level wide receiver. So
can he at least make the NFL top 100 next year?
Yeah.
I was confused by that list.
Players. I mean, Josh Jacobs at 10 or whatever, right? Like, are you serious?
Myles Garrett has 16 sacks last season.
Really?
He's the 22nd best player in the league.
And I love Jalen Hurts. He's not the third best player in the NFL.
That was wild.
He's really good.
That was a wild one.
I've been on the Hurts train since he was at Bama, but come on now. That ain't it. So I'll give him an A because he addressed every single concern heading into the offseason. Offensive line, they got better. They signed someone, they drafted someone. Boom, check. Wide receiver, you acquired a wide receiver through trade, and you drafted one. Okay, check. You mark that off. Defensive help, you bolstered the defensive line in the draft and for free agency, even though it happened just a week ago. You did that. And linebackers, you totally revamped your linebacker room. You got guys that Eberflus is more comfortable with, the style of play.
For sure.
Check. You got it. He essentially, every single step of the way, he addressed the issues we had with this team. I think that's an A. And in the moment, you have to give the GM credit for doing so. Now, if all the moves don't work out, we can revisit it and say, in hindsight, DJ Moore was good, not great. In hindsight, the draft picks didn't really work out. In hindsight, it didn't matter for the linebackers. You overpaid for linebackers when the defensive line couldn't stop them, so it didn't matter. Like, I'm sure there's ways we could poke holes in this and look back on it.
And will.
But in the moment, as a Bears fan, like, what else could you ask for? What are you upset because he didn't get Justin Jefferson as your wide receiver? Like for what's available, he accomplished like the best you could do in the situation he was in. Like it's pretty impressive what he's done in the last 6 months.
No, and that's the thing for me, right? When I look at this team, I'm sitting here, I'm in surprise because when Ryan Pace did this, right? We had this same style of revamp with Ryan Pace. We were at a point where we said, well, you've got to win the Super Bowl because if you don't, we're going to be bad for 5 years. We did not win a Super Bowl.
He mortgaged the future.
He mortgaged the future.
Yeah.
Mitch, Mac, you bet it all on these guys.
He paid Tariq Cohen,
Tariq,
a gadget player.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you this. I love Tariq Cohen.
Why?
But when that deal came through,
love Tariq Cohen.
I love Tariq. Listen, he didn't play enough for me to not like him. That's the problem, right? He didn't play enough for me to not like him. But I love Tariq Cohen for just the gadget plays that he was out there. He wanted to play bigger. Like he was cool, right? But it was one of those where it was like, oh, you're just paying guys you drafted. Like you just like this guy. Like you're not even paying him because of production. You just really like him. But when Pace did that, we thought we were going to be bad. Like I thought there was no shot we're competing by this year when Ryan Poles showed up last year. Until he traded Khalil Mack. and got them to take the money. Then I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We're in like this team is built to possibly be a 8-win team. If things fall right, maybe you're talking 9-10. I don't know if we're there yet. We'll see. But we're talking about that. And next season, if we need to make moves, we can.
Yeah.
And we got draft capital.
And it'll be 10 or 11 next season. And like that's where you see the progress. And I think the other thing that I've noticed, the difference between the last front office and this one, is that they're paying for players who have done this before at this level.
Yeah.
The last guy was paying unknown players big contracts to hope they turn into something. Yeah. Yannick Ngakoue has credentials. TJ Edwards has credentials.
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds has credentials. Even Nate Davis on the line has credentials. There's concerns about him not being at practice and camp. He's played though.
He's going to be able to slot in once he's healthy and go.
I think that's what's different here is that this GM had the money. He didn't just go find the highest priced free agent and sign him. He went and signed guys that fit their system who have done it in the past. Yeah. And I think that's what feels different about this than previously, because you're right, because we knew you made the move for Khalil Mack
and loved it.
You got to go now.
You got to win.
This is it. You have to win now.
And the year that you made the move, you won, you competed, you went out and fought, and you doinked it all away.
Right. Which it is possible, Pat, that with the approach that we have in this offseason, the Bears might very well get to that same point this season that they were in when they saw the double doink. Is that there is a chance, like you said, that they could get to 10 wins in a division where I don't buy the Lions as the Super Bowl contender. I think that's crazy. So much overlove and the sexy team in the offseason never turns out to be the team in the season. So listen, it is possible that this team could get to 10 wins, get a wild card game, lose in a wild card game.
For sure.
And you're at the same exact point we were at when we thought the Bears had a Super Bowl contending team. It is possible.
For sure. I mean, and that's the thing about football, right? There's
everyone's 500.
You gotta go. Everybody's 500.
There's 2 or 3 bottom feeders. There's 2 or 3 championship level teams.
Yeah.
Everyone else is in the middle. The Bears are back to the middle.
And that's what this season
is.
What this season is.
They're
getting back to the middle, maybe getting a little bit more, right? But like it's like you said about the Lions, right? Like the guarantees that people are making on some of these teams, like what we're guaranteeing as Bears fans realistically is mediocrity. Yeah, 9-8 feels great. If we finish the season 9-8, I'm high-fiving. We're excited. Home of the Bears. We're losing our minds on the radio. All of that, right?
There'll be a lot of downs, right? You're losing 8-9 games. Yeah. There's a lot of games and a lot of things to fix, but also you're right in the mix.
But like Lions fans are just like, we're gonna win 12 games easy.
Please.
And I'm like, I don't think I've seen you win 12 games. Like, I think one year Matthew Stafford got 12 wins when it was him, Megatron, and then, right, like they made the playoffs. They lose in the playoffs. They think they're going to go.
Dallas,
I want to say
right?
They added Reggie Bush that next season.
Maybe.
Yeah. And they won 6 games.
Yeah.
So, like, just prove to me that you can win 2 years in a row. That's all I'm looking for before we start beating our chests. And listen, Bears fans, same thing. We're excited. We can all be excited. Let's prove we can win 2 years in a row. Because the one thing that I think that Ryan Poles is doing that sets us up different than what I think the last 20 years of GMs have done is I don't think that this is a pop-up team.
No, it'll be something where they'll get to a point and then you'll build upon it next year. And your championship window is essentially the moment you commit to Fields with that next contract. Yeah. You're really going to have to maximize those first couple of years while he's making that new money.
Because you're going to end up having to move pieces out.
Yeah, the sweet spot would be if you were ready this year.
Yeah.
The sweet spot is you get a quarterback at the end of his first deal, making the money he's making, and you can win before you have to extend them.
Yeah.
So theoretically, the year to maximize is next season.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you get a surprise year here, you got to run with it. And that's why they went and signed Ngakoue. That's why the vibe is they're trying to win. Yeah. They know where they're at with this quarterback. They want to sign him. They want him here for the long term. There is the out if they're in the off chance it doesn't work. They can refigure it out in the off season with the draft, with the Carolina pick, whatever it is. But essentially, if they can win this year, get close, and then go for it next year before you have to sign, or however that works with Fields, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, and if you go into the draft completely different. To me, if I know Justin Fields is my quarterback of the future, those 2 first-round picks are going for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sure.
Bet we're building our offense up. We know he's got it. Bet we're paying you. Yeah. We're going to go get you another young wide receiver who's going to be controllable on a good contract for 4 years.
Well, and think of it this way, Pat. If the answer to your question on if Fields is a guy, that would mean that DJ Moore had a hell of a year. Right?
Absolutely.
So now you're adding someone in a wide receiver that's expected to be great on the next level to a guy who played great.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. This could be an offense that top in the NFC type of thing.
And all of a sudden, either Chase Claypool or Darnell Mooney are your number 3.
Right.
And just the guy who's like, can I just trust you?
Now, the optimism is, okay, this could be one of the
now you're
teams.
Bengals. Yeah. Now you're the Bengals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what and then it's essentially what Philly has accomplished, right? You trade for A.J. Brown. You have Smith already that you drafted. You have a quarterback that came to his own. You have all the other pieces. They're ready. Yeah. They're in their championship window.
Let's see it, man. Let's see it. Let's hope that this is the year that we get to see it. But it all starts tomorrow. Preseason is here. We're going to be breaking it down over on ESPN 1000 all day. Bleck on the pre-game show. We got the pre-game show with Lance, Dion, and Sylvie. We got the game itself. We've got the post-game show with Yurko and Peggy. We got the post-game show with me, Meller, and J-Mac, Jason McKee, going to be in the building as well, who's also on the sideline. J-Mac, the hardest working man here. He's going from the game to the studio.
That's awesome. You guys are going to have fun on the post-game show. That's going to be a great time.
The post, please call in. It's literally just all callers. We're also going to be interacting with the YouTube comments. Y'all know I'm not going to forget about y'all in the comment section on the live, so tune in with us on that as well. We're going to have an absolutely great season of football, and it all starts tomorrow. For Chris Bleck, I'm Pat the Designer. Bear down, Chicago Bears podcast. Peace.